This is Heather Greene, and as promised, we are going to continue our discussion on whiskey. I am bringing my book, Whiskey Distilled, a populous guide to the water of life, to you so that you can become a better whiskey aficionado or your own expert, whatever you want to call it, during this time becoming better whiskey consumers. And I wanted to talk now, I promised a talk on appreciation, right? Why do I really care about whiskey? And I hinted before that to me, whiskey is a lens to see the world. And if I can make a plea, it's that you start looking a little bit more about what you put into your body and the influence of the entire beverage alcohol industry and how powerful it is to start using your dollars in ways that maybe matter better to you. So let's talk about that a little bit. The North American beverage industry is worth about $400 billion. $400 billion, okay? And with so much financial power behind it and 4 million jobs, so a lot of us probably know somebody who's worked in the industry, I feel like it's kind of nice to have a little economic literacy behind what I drink. And appreciation is the first step that helps me get there, right? Because if I'm appreciating what I'm drinking, I'm appreciating a lot more that went into that whiskey and then the contributions my dollars make to the things that are important to me or the brands or the people that are important to me. So your money is a vote. It's about speaking intelligently on this $400 billion industry. This to me is probably one of the most powerful reasons to really understand what it is that you're drinking, because behind this is just such a tremendous power. And obviously I think there's knowledge. That knowledge is power. We know that expression. By understanding a lot of this stuff, you become immune, or I should say less susceptible to crazy brand hyperbole or advertising or myths or some of the brands who I've seen take advantage of some scientific ignorance. You're going to know better. So appreciation really helps us get to a place where not only are we going to understand better what's in our product, but also be able to understand how we function with that in a broader society from an economic point of view. So my plea comes first from a more rational place. It's in a place of appreciation, thinking about the overall culture, the financial or economic culture that whiskey resides in. We are now firmly in a recession, right? So how you spend your dollars as well is really can have a direct impact on the community around you. And to me, this is really, really fantastic. There's a lot of craft distilleries around the United States, and you're able to express appreciation for these small local businesses that are contributing to your community through employment or taxes or even recently hand sanitizers. I hope you think about that when you start spending money on whiskey or gin or any other premium spirit. Think about how that actually, your hard-earned dollars can actually say something in the marketplace. And with that, I'd like to turn to our local sponsors who have something to say. All of these distilleries have something to say, and it's this. Appreciation also connects us to our human history. Alcohol played a central role in almost all human culture since at least Neolithic times. If you don't remember from your school days what that is, it looks like this. Yeah, that's Neolithic times. And from those earliest recorded uses of alcohol, we saw that it has been a social activity. I mean, look at that. They would get together, drink some wine, graffiti the wall. I mean, it's not that different than what some of us did already back a couple years ago, right? So it connects us to each other. It's it's a very interesting lens to see history and humankind. That's appreciation lets us think about that. It drives and connects us to each other. It's always been a social activity. It's a little challenging today, but we celebrate birth and death and weddings and all sorts of things around alcohol. So it is who we are as people and throughout the world. So appreciating a good whiskey to me is connecting to people, it's connecting to history, it's connecting to faraway places. I mean, I drink a glass of scotch and I'm reminded of the smells and the beauty of the time that I spent in Isle of Scotland or in the Highlands. And, you know, it's an armchair adventure if you let it be an armchair adventure. It's also about, appreciation is about knowing what we put into our body as well. I mean, come on, you want to know what's going into your body, right? I mean, you want to know what are the ingredients, how did they make it, what is that percentage of alcohol in this particular glass of whatever I'm drinking, and knowing your body's limits and understanding that and how we react to it on a physiological level. So I don't do shots. I feel like a shot is just bypassing all the wonderful things that spirits have to offer, and you're just left with a buzz. I can do that anyways by slowing down and appreciating what it is. I don't see the point of a shot. So in sum, alcohol and learning about it and appreciation is about slowing down. It's about understanding the culture around us, both from a financial perspective, from historical, from people, from how we respond ourselves biologically to the spirit. And something else really interesting happens. When consumers start understanding more about whiskey, more about gin, more about spirits, what happens then is that there's a response that this $400 billion industry has to make. And we started seeing that in the past 5 years. They've had to address, or we, because I work in it as well, sustainability, authenticity and truth in advertising, truth in labeling, fair trade practices, how people are asking how, for example, rum producers, where they're getting their sugar and how are the sugarcane workers being paid or treated. And we start seeing this pushback, right? Or maybe not really a pushback. It's just more like by asking and becoming a better consumer, the industry must respond. And I think that elevates the conversation and brings us to a better place. So I hope you enjoyed that bit about appreciation from more of a rational, I guess, more of a point of view that comes from some place that you didn't probably think it would come from. But next, we're going to do the traditional methods and looking at appreciation, and that's through our nosing and tasting, and really get into the physics or the physiology of that. So I'm really excited about that. Stay tuned. That's our next video.